Alright guys, so we are going to be adding makeup to this lady's face. We're going to be doing some highlighting and shading, eyebrows, eyelashes, eyeshadow, lipstick, eyeliner, the whole 9 yards to her face. So the main thing that we're going to start with first off is doing that frequency separation. And that's going to kind of smooth everything on her face. So you guys learned how to do that in the last assignment. So I have already done that. I'm just going to turn that back on. You can kind of see the difference if you look under her eyes, like the biggest difference, and on her forehead. It just really just kind of smooths everything over. Think of it like if you're a girl applying primer, okay? So what I don't really want to have to worry about having this layer in the way. So we are going to merge these two layers. So I'm going to select both of them, right click and go to merge layers. And so now this is my new background layer. All right, so the first this first video is going to be for shading and highlights, and then we're going to do a eyeshadow video, a eyeliner video, lashes video, brows video, and lips video. So a little bit of each one in case you need to go back and edit any of them in the future. And also, if you're watching this, and it is not homecoming week, it is Spirit Week and Country Day, so that's what we got. All right, so the first thing we have is for the shading and highlights. So we did our frequency separation and we merged those already. Next, we are going to just make a duplicate layer because we always have that duplicate layer, and we're going to add a blank layer. We're also going to be using this file for pretty much this entire assignment, so you're going to do multiple videos in this one file. So just make sure that you, at the beginning of each video, you kind of check where you are and see kind of how that is. So we have our blank layer. We're going to fill this blank layer with white, so we're going to look under our gradient tool and get our paint bucket. We're going to change our color to white, and while this layer active, we're just going to click. Okay, so that turns all the way white. Next, we're going to go to image, and we're going to go to adjustments, hue saturation, and we're going to turn the lightness of that to around -50 because we want it this gray color. All right, we're going to say okay. Now over here in our layers panel, we can adjust our layers mode, and that kind of affects what that does. So we're going to change our mode from normal, and we're going to go down to overlay. All right, so it's just kind of laying on top of there. All right, so now this is where we're actually going to get into doing the shading and the highlighting. We're going to get our burn tool, which is over under your dodge tool. And we know that our burn tool darkens things, whereas our dodge tool lightens stuff based off of the items that we select or the changes that we make in our options bar. So up in our options bar, there's a few changes that we want to make. First, you want to make sure your range sets midtones and that your exposure says 40. Let's go with 40. Should be about right. All right, now we're going to get a rather large brush. I have a soft round brush selected. That'll be in your general brushes right here. So soft round, and I'm going to go up to about a 160, 162, 164, 165. Somewhere in the 160s will be good. So you see how mine's pretty large. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to shade the portions of the face, and this is really just to increase bone structure. So some people may in this class may be much better at this than me. Some of you may not be very great at this, but it's okay. We'll make it work. All right, so we're going to kind of go in this area. All right, you want to make sure that you're doing it on this layer too. I want a little farther. Okay. And then we're going to come right here up under the cheekbones. Maybe a little bit here to shape right there. Let's do a little bit on the bridge of her nose. We'll turn the size of our brush down a little bit more. And we're going to blend all this out just like we would if we were applying makeup in real life. So it does not have to be perfect. Okay. And some of you, like I said, are probably going to do a much better job than I just did. All right, so we have that. And now we're going to add our lighting pieces. So we're going to go to our tool over here. We're going to select our dodge tool. Midtones, and we want our exposure to be roughly 30%. So we're going to change that exposure up to 30%. And we're going to make this brush rather large. Not that large. I'm in like the 180s, and I'm just kind of brighten. And this is where you kind of brighten where the sun or the light naturally hits. Maybe a little bit like there. Um, again, you're not going to do it exactly the same as mine. Just try to get a similar-ish idea. Aim for better than what I did. A little bit on the tip of her nose. We got some light hitting here. So really you want to get where the light naturally hits just in general. All right, so once we have that, we're going to go up to filter and blur. So we're going to go up to filter, blur, and you can look. You can see a huge difference, okay? If we turn them off, that's what it looks like. So you can see the areas where we added dark. It should be relatively similar, but yeah. Okay, so with our top layer active, we're going to go to filter and blur, and we're going to go to Gaussian blur. And this is really how large you make your radius is going to depend on you, like, and what yours look like. So I have my preview box checked right here. That means as I make changes, you can see it's going to affect it. So you want it to still be visible, but like obviously not as harsh. And if you're like a makeup person, this will be like where you're buffing it out or blending everything really well. Okay. It's too much. Let's go right here. All right, so I'm around 73% or 73 pixels. So if yours is still looking kind of rough right here, you can always go over here and change your opacity down, and that changes it. Mine, I think, looks decent where it was. And again, like, that's the difference. So it's not massive, but it definitely is brighter in some areas. All right, so that is really how you do all of your shading and your highlighting. And then in the next video, we will cover eyeshadow.